When a video game gets a sequel, the developers face a pretty tough question. Do you do the exact same thing again to make sure everyone's happy, but risk being repetitive? Or do you try something new and risk losing the fans you've already built up? Or why not do a bit of both? Take that beautiful base of Sonic speed and add some new things to really emphasize it. This not only makes a good Sonic game, but one of the best games of the 3D Sonic era. And we're gonna just see how good it is when I complete Sonic Colors for the Nintendo Wii.
Here comes a new challenger!
Yes!
Danger!
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of The Completionist, where we don't just play the games, we complete them. Today's video is brought to you by patreon.com/thecompletionist, where you can get exclusive commentary tracks on Completionist episodes. All patrons right now can check out our track on Smash Bros. Ultimate, available today. Speaking of today, I am super excited to finally get to talk about Sonic Colors. So without further ado, let's go! While I will always be a Nintendo kid at heart, I still have fond memories of playing as Tails while my older brother sped through Sonic 2 as the Blue Blur himself. And that's the thing that separates Sonic from Mario and all the other mascots of the day: speed. However, at the time right before Sonic Colors release, it seemed like Sonic Team had forgotten that. Instead, they relied on gimmicks, and this led to a rough patch for Sonic Team. See Sonic 06 and the Storybook series. Now this left a bad taste in Sonic fans' mouths. Some would shout from the rooftops, "Release a regular Sonic game, don't do anything crazy, don't put a bunch of random characters in it, we just want to go fast." And then, Sonic Team did it. They listened to their fans, and they made Sonic go fast. Sonic Team released Sonic Colors, or Sonic Colors as it's known in Europe, and the fans rejoiced. Sonic was the only playable character. There weren't any gimmicks that slowed down the pace. The goal became the same for every level: find the best path, get to the end as fast as you can, and get an S ranking. Even though Sonic Team finally got the message to keep the focus on the Blue Blur, there was still one big issue. A lot of people didn't trust Sonic games anymore. They had been spurned one too many times by disappointing games. So Sonic Team had looked towards an old enemy for guidance: Mario. While Mario and Sonic had been bitter rivals during the console wars of the 1990s, recently the two worked together in the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games series. This introduced a lot of new, younger Mario fans to Sonic, and Sonic Team noticed. Sonic Colors was designed with those fans in mind. The gameplay was made easier with a much simpler and cartoony story compared to previous 3D Sonic games. Dr. Eggman built an interplanetary amusement park to try and fix all the wrongdoings he had done in the past. Sonic doesn't want to trust him and brings Tails along to investigate. And while there are some twists and turns along the way, it never gets as crazy as it did before, with time travel and battles with the government or anything like that. Just a nice, quick, easy to swallow plot. You know, kind of like a Disney movie. Focusing again on Sonic's sense of speed is the best choice that Sonic Team could have made. In fact, while Sonic Adventure 2 is my personal favorite to this day, I'd say Sonic Colors is one of the best 3D Sonic games of the modern era. This is mainly because you're just playing as Sonic. Originally, a lot of different characters were added to create a sense of variety in Sonic games. For example, Knuckles levels in Sonic Adventure 2 and the Night levels in Sonic Unleashed, where you played as a werehog. And while I actually love these parts of those games, I do have to admit that they slow down the pace of their respective games. If you want to keep up with Sonic the Hedgehog, it seems the best idea is to play as Sonic the Hedgehog. The trick then is to create variety inside of the same gameplay. Sonic Team's solution was the introduction of the wisps. Wisps are small aliens that are basically superpowered versions of the animals you release from capsules in the 2D Sonic games. There are 8 different colors of the wisp, hence the title Sonic Colors. Each one gives Sonic a unique ability to help him travel faster through a level. For example, cyan wisps turn Sonic into a laser, and yellow wisps turn you into a drill that travels through the ground. The best part is that none of these slow down the gameplay at all. Even the blue wisps that turn Sonic into a block that can crush enemies create new platforms that help you move faster. But speed wasn't just emphasized in gameplay. Even selecting a level was streamlined. There's no overworld you have to run around in, no 3-act structure you have to sprint through to get to the level you have to play. All you have to do is select the level and you're done. However, if you are nostalgic for that classic 3-act structure, don't worry. There's a bonus section called Game Land where you can play through mostly 2D styled levels. However, you don't just get these. You can play in Game Land after you collect enough red rings. These are found throughout the regular story missions, 5 for each level. And exploring the levels to find them and trying different wisp powers is a lot of fun. See, everything comes back to that classic Sonic gameplay. So now that we have the wisps creating variety, what do you do with all the other traditional Sonic characters? Well, they're just gone. In fact, there are only 6 characters involved in the entire plot: Sonic, Tails, Eggman, Eggman's robots Orbot and Cubot, and Yacker the Wisp. And while I do miss some of my favorite characters from past Sonic games, Sonic Team made the right choice here. The story was a lot easier to follow, and it prevented having to give every single one of these characters screen time, which really would have slowed down the pacing. Compare this to the DS version of Sonic Colors. There are an additional 16 characters in that game, and they're not even playable. All the usual suspects. You got Big the Cat, you got Espio. Like, why? Why do we have all this? I like those characters for where they're needed to be, but they're clearly not welcome in this environment. In Sonic Colors, the tone shifts drastically from previous 3D Sonic games. While previous games were dramatic and took themselves pretty seriously, Sonic Colors is different. For example, when I completed Sonic Unleashed, one of my biggest issues came from the plot. I felt the plot didn't know what it wanted to be. It would constantly flip-flop between comedy and really dark. Choosing either would be fine, but the narrative is stronger when you focus really well on one. On the other hand, Sonic Colors is lighthearted, cheesy, and dare I say it, funny, and I love it. 2 robot characters were emphasized, Cubot and Orbot. They serve as comic relief along with Tails, who builds a wisp translator to talk to Yacker, and it doesn't quite work.
Funny thing, it was first translating as horrible body odor.
Lots of burps and body odor jokes. And while these can get kind of dad jokey, I actually laughed from time to time. This tone shift can be seen in the setting as well. While Eggman Land in Sonic Unleashed was a terrifying dystopia, Eggman's amazing interstellar amusement park is a much more pleasant place to be, even though the only way up there is by elevator. That's either the longest or the fastest elevator ride ever. Either way, I'm probably gonna be sick. Now, this unique location leads to some amazing worlds. My personal favorites are Sweet Mountain, with its Sugar Rush roads and giant burger in the middle, and Starlight Carnival, which is basically a combination of Rainbow Road and the Death Star battle. Another big shift is in the music. It's no longer that awesome rock and roll we've come to expect. Instead, it's more similar to electronica. It's upbeat, fun, and feels a bit more polished. And while it's no live and learn, the theme song Reach for the Stars is quite awesome. It's been stuck in my head for weeks now. A lot of longtime Sonic fans have complained about this tone shift, but I think they're forgetting something. This is a game intended for children. Literally, producer Takashi Iizuka said he wanted the game to be played by children between the ages of 6 and 12 years old, with no exception to the hardcore Sonic fans. Sonic Team wanted to make a game that everyone could enjoy, from hardcore Sonic fans to Mario fans to children. And if they approach the 3D Sonic games like that from the beginning, I can't help but think that the public opinion of Sonic might be better. And they were on their way. Sonic Colors showed that Sonic Team was listening to the fans, and 3D Sonic games were moving in the right direction. Sonic Generations had a lot of similarities and confirmed that. And then the rest happened. Now, even though it wasn't developed by Sonic Team, after Sonic Boom released, all the goodwill Sonic Colors had started creating was forgotten. Now, generally, whenever you bring up 3D Sonic games, the only games the internet talks about are Sonic Boom and Sonic 06, with little sprinkles of the Adventure series here and there. Sonic Colors has been lost in a sea of easy internet jokes that only survive in the public's memory of a raft made of memes and angry Let's Plays. And frankly, it deserves better. You know, now that I think about it, I was really disappointed when I completed Sonic Unleashed when I realized that you can't play as Super Sonic. And I was afraid that was going to be the case with Sonic Colors as well. I got all the S ranks, nothing. I collected all the red rings, nothing. Then I went to Game Land. I completed the first 3 acts of the first level, and I got a Chaos Emerald. That meant that Super Sonic had to be in the game, right? I completed all 21 levels as quickly as I could, and getting to play as Super Sonic again was kind of disappointing. Now, I really like the addition of the wisps, and I was very excited to combine the wisp gameplay with the OP power of Super Sonic. But you can't use the wisps when you're Super Sonic, and you can't battle any bosses. So really, this is just a nod to hardcore Sonic fans, and I guess that's fine in my book. But there is one more thing. As you complete the worlds in story mode, a ship with Eggman's face flies around the world select button. This is the Egg Shuttle. Selecting the Egg Shuttle unlocks challenge mode, and while you can choose it from early on in the story, I recommend waiting until you beat the game. Challenge mode is a sprint through every single level in the main story without stopping. And while you don't get anything for doing this, it's a nice challenge. And if you've already beaten the game, it won't be that hard to do. If you're really good at it, you can beat the whole thing in under an hour. While it's nice to actually have some rewards for doing everything, it doesn't feel like it was really that much. But it's not always about the destination. Sometimes it's about the journey. And in Sonic's case, it's about how fast you can get there. So let's see where we've been. We got 45 S ranks, which were pretty easy and fun once you get the hang of the wisp mechanics, 180 red rings collected, which I find to be a great incentive to explore every level, 21 bonus levels where I got the 7 Chaos Emeralds and got to see a good old friend, 2 playthroughs, one of which was the challenge mode, which frankly, I didn't find to be worth it, 15 hours of total playtime, which honestly isn't that long when you think about a Sonic game, and 0 chili dogs eaten, although now I really want one. Sonic Colors showed that Sonic Team was listening to its fans, and 3D Sonic games once again were moving in a better direction. Sonic Generations confirmed that and had a lot of similarities to Sonic Colors, regardless of Lost World and Sonic Boom to follow after that. But within all of this, we've learned a couple of things. The biggest one being Sonic Colors has a lot of goodwill, intention, and heart just oozing out of every single possibility this game offers. It's a lot of fun, and for a Wii game, it is beautiful. So, with that in mind, guys, I give Sonic Colors my completionist rating of complete it.
Complete it!
That's all time we have for today, guys, so please, as always, let me know what you thought about this episode somewhere in the comments down below, or anywhere else you want to. Hey, did you know that we have a P.O. box you can send stuff to? Go ahead and check that out. We also have Patreon, we also have social networking, Instagram is cool, I take photos of things. Check all that stuff down below. I've been Gerard, and I'll see you next week for the brand new episode. Bye-bye! I don't know what this was, but I committed to it.